What's up guys, today we're going to be going over Iron Banner from a PvE player's point of view, and we will be talking about the rewards themselves, so the weapons and armor, and be talking about which ones are worth even trying to get. Then overall just talk about Iron Banner and the state it's in right now, and all the issues I see with the game mode. My code ERROR is 30% off on G Fuel through Monday, so go ahead and click the link in the comments description, head over to their store and get yourself or a family member something nice for Christmas. And yeah, let's go ahead and begin with the video. So the first thing for a PvE player to get in Iron Banner is the 4 Pinnacle bounties each time it comes around in the season. And early on in the season, this is pretty important because we're still trying to gear up for the harder content in the game, for example GMs coming out later this season. So no matter what, it's pretty much always gonna be worth it to get these 4 bounties done on your main character at least. That way you're ready for those GMs here in a few weeks. I can usually get the 4 bounties done while doing the main quest line to unlock the 2 new weapons, so that's not too bad. And now let's talk about the weapons Iron Banner has to offer, starting with the 2 new ones this season, which are going to be the hand cannon and then also the scout rifle. So first let's look at the hand cannon, which is going to be a 120 RPM, which is what the old 110s are now, and I actually have a pretty good roll of Outlaw and Swash. And looking at the perks in the left slot, you have Outlaw and Killing Wind are pretty much the only 2 worth noting in PvE. In the right slot you have Swashbuckler and also Wellspring. As you saw in mine, I have Outlaw and Swashbuckler, so I got pretty lucky pretty early on. And overall I'm not completely sold on 120s in PvE. I think for the most part in almost every single type of weapon in Destiny that the higher the rate of fire the better. So for example the 140s and the 180s are pretty much better in PvE in my opinion, because of the fact that you're going to be able to one hit most red bars with all 3 of them, so you may as well take advantage of the quicker rate of fire. But the thing is, these 120s, their base damage is so high that they don't really need a damage perk, which means this one with Wellspring could be really good. And yeah, we already have a kinetic primary with Wellspring on it, the high albedo, but the high albedo is obviously going to be really good at close range, while something like this could be better for harder activities where you have to stay a little bit further back. So I'm definitely trying to hunt down Outlaw and Wellspring on this weapon, because of the fact that the base damage is so good that it doesn't really need a damage perk, and it will still feel really good with just Wellspring on it. And now moving on to the scout rifle, which is going to be a 150 RPM, and just like the previous hand cannon, there are a few new perks on here. In the left side there is Rapid Hit and also Surplus. Both are reload perks and pretty good. And you also get Ambitious Assassin, which is kind of interesting. Then the right slot, pretty much the only thing in PvE that's worth getting is One for All, because One for All is pretty much the best damage perk in the entire game right now. It's going to be a 35% buff that lasts for 10 seconds, and all you have to do is hit 3 enemies to proc it, compared to most other damage perks where you have to get kills and reload, or get kills and keep the stack going. So this perk lends itself really well to hard content where you can't really chain Rampage or something like that over and over again, and all you have to do is just tag 3 enemies in the area and you'll get the full 35% buff for 10 seconds. Then once it runs out, you have to hit 3 more enemies to get it going again. So a scout rifle would be really good for hard PvE content, and something I would probably take into most World's First raids and have on my character in case there's an encounter that you need a lot of range, because obviously scout rifles are the best range weapons in PvE, and One for All is going to be the best for hard content. So overall, if you get the right roll in the scout rifle, for example either Surplus or Rapid Hit and One for All, you know, it's going to be actually a pretty good weapon. And outside of the 2 new weapons, there's going to be 2 old weapons I think are worth mentioning. The first one's going to be the Forward Path, which is going to be a 600 RPM auto rifle in the kinetic slot, and it can get Feeding Frenzy in the left slot, then either Swashbuckler or multi-kill clip in the right slot. And overall, ARs are definitely in my top 3 for primaries in PvE, right in there with sidearms and also SMGs. Depending on your playstyle, you might like one more than the other, but all 3 are definitely the top tier picks in PvE right now. And for ARs, the 600s and 720s are the best. And in the Connect slot, this one is a 600. Then the only other one that we have in the Connect slot is the Still Feather Repeater, which was from Season of the Dawn, and it will be sunset after this season, and that was a 720 RPM with pretty similar perks. So starting next season, that one won't be able to be infused higher than the 1260 cap, which means that this Forward Path is pretty much the only good AR in the Connect slot once the season's over. So it's definitely worth getting this AR because one, it's just a good AR as is, but then it's going to be pretty much the only option unless we get a new one in future seasons. We still have the Gnawing Hunger, then the new Europa one in the energy slot, and those ones aren't going anywhere anytime soon, but for the Kinetic slot, this is pretty much going to be the best choice. And final weapon worth mentioning is going to be Swarm of the Raven, because it comes with some pretty solid rolls. You pretty much want spike grenades, then either field prep or auto loading. than Rampage or Ambitious Assassin. And neither of the right perk roles are good. You can get something like Full Court, that'd be a lot better for damage, and you can get something like that on the Interference. So there are better GLs in the game, but if you get a decent Swarm or Raven, it's definitely worth hanging on to. So those are pretty much the only few weapons worth getting in Iron Banner as a PvE player. Then the armor can roll pretty high, and it has a new mod socket, which is called the Combat Style Armor mod. And pretty much what that means is you can equip a few of the artifact mods in the socket. And if I'm not mistaken, most of the Beyond Light armor has this Combat Style Armor mod socket. So you don't only need Iron Banner, it could come from a raid or something like that also. And as of right now, pretty much the only point of this socket compared to, you know, a rival armor is the artifact mods. I'm sure in the upcoming seasons, as we get more and more new mods, I'm sure they will require this type of socket. So I guess that kind of makes Iron Banner a little bit more worthwhile. So overall, there's a few weapons that are kind of good. I think the AR is pretty much the best of all the Iron Banner weapons for PvE, and will be pretty much one of the best choices in the entire game. Then the Scout Rifle and Hand Cannon are good, but they're like situationally good, not like just good in general, if you know what I mean. Then outside of that, I mean, that's pretty much it. So now talking about just the overall structure of Iron Banner and its current iteration. The thing I don't understand about Iron Banner is it's been around forever, and it's pretty much been stagnant since D2 came out, and the rest of the game has evolved and gotten better and better over time, while Iron Banner is just sitting here like, I'm still here. Pretty much over the last year, the seasonal model has provided ways to farm for specific weapons. So if that was Umbral Engrams, you could focus it into a pool of like 2 or 4 weapons, or if that was even like weapon bounties from Barracks or the Obelisk, you know, whatever it was, pretty much every single new weapon we've gotten in PvE has a dedicated path to farm it. And most of those you had to do an activity to get a material or something like that, then take that material to buy the weapon bounty or focus the Umbral Engrams. I mean, even the raid has this system now, which is the pinnacle of in-game PvE. And pretty much all these systems have the same element of where you played the activity for a material and you use that material to get what you want. And Iron Banners is still sitting here after 3 years with the same old token system that the entire community has said they do not like, and yet nothing's changed. Like, I don't get it. It's completely not worth anyone's time to go play 100 Iron Banner matches just to get 10 rewards that are random, and maybe you get what you want. Then if you do get what you want, the chance of getting the right role you want is like next to nothing. Like, there's actually a very high chance that if I played Iron Banner every single week it came out in Beyond Light, I wouldn't even get the Hand Cannon or Scout Rifle role I'd want. Like, I don't understand how hard it is to just apply one of those old systems to Iron Banner. For example, in Iron Banner right now, every single time you play a game, there's a chance of getting an Iron Banner drop at the end. Just turn that into an Iron Banner engram. Then you take that engram to the tower, and you can just turn it in for a random drop. Or you can use Iron Banner tokens to focus it into a group of weapons or armor pieces. Like, how crazy is that? It's almost like they've done that before in a different season. Iron Banner right now is at the point for me where it's like, why is it even in the game? It just feels like something they can slap on the roadmap just to say there's something in that spot. Like, it's pretty much pointless. Like, I actually just don't get it. Like, this game mode hasn't evolved in like 6 years. And it's to the point where it just shouldn't even be in the game unless they rework it. And this season is by far the worst. We got pretty much nothing new. We got 2 new weapons that aren't even new weapons. They do have new perks, but at the same time, there's almost nothing to even get from Iron Banner. It's pretty sad when the main draw to a PvP game mode is Pinnacle light level for PvE. Like, what? Anyways, I think I covered most of what I wanted to talk about. Pretty much the reward structure in Iron Banner is terrible. The entire game around it has evolved with dedicated farms. Even like the exotics are dedicated farms now. Yet Iron Banner, which is the oldest game mode in Destiny, is still the same old shit that was 6 years ago. Like, Bungie, you need to look at Iron Banner and change it or vault it until you make it better. But I'm sure they won't do that because, you know, Iron Banner is a selling point for each season and fills up blank spots on the roadmap. That might be a little bit harsh, but that's definitely the truth of why it's still in the game. And yeah, that's my opinion on Iron Banner right now. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.